People are going to Best Buy. They're buying home theater systems and packages and more expensive computers. Apple, Microsoft. People are now, it's not just a $29 product. People are now accustomed to spending $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 on a piece of hardware from one of these outlets. And so you're right. Consumer behavior is shifting to the degree that we're becoming more comfortable making bigger purchases online.
Right. And there's no need to fight it, and I think every time a dealer fights it, they just make it easier for Carvana. I believe that Carvana doesn't even have to advertise anymore. Because Carvana gives you the opposite of what you get in the dealership.
Interesting.
And I think people already know this.
Sure. And to your point, the dealership already has the capability to deliver this same experience.
Exactly. I think dealership has a better capability, right? Because a dealership has a parts and service department that Carvana does not.
Interesting.
And I think that's the real deal breaker. If, maybe if I buy the car from Carvana and it gets delivered, let's say I'm in New York and the car gets delivered from Oklahoma, it really doesn't matter.
Sure.
But when it comes to service, I'm not driving to Oklahoma to get an oil change. The service is local. Mm-hmm. And the dealership has, a built-in advantage. But again, because dealers choose to ignore service in most cases, they don't take advantage of it.
Which is crazy too, especially where you see things headed. Like this is a massive opening, and I agree with you. You have a fully functioning facility to offer a 360-degree service to a customer. All we're talking about here is tweaking some of your process to deliver the experience that they expect. I just saw recently a recent headline about Walmart closing all of their tire and lube facilities.
Oh, wow.
And so this is a big opportunity where just a year ago, people are talking about, see, look at Walmart. They're in your space and they're taking away market share, or the Jiffy Lube or the Pennzoil and the quick lube oil changes. We're going to see an interesting thing here where dealerships who are funded, who are operating service departments already, are going to have a competitive advantage over some of these companies that are closing due to COVID.
Right. But my fear is that Carvana at some point, so I think what we see in is phase one. They're just selling cars, they're grabbing market share,
Sure.
they're entering more and more markets.
Right.
But I almost guarantee that there's a phase two. And phase two will mean Carvana entering into fixed ops. Because they have customers all over the country.
Sure.
So do they need to build their service department from scratch? Probably not. They have enough firepower to just buy Jiffy Lube and rebrand it.
Sure.
And offer the same experience that you already get from Jiffy Lube. So think of it as a Jiffy Lube owner, right? If I was a Jiffy Lube owner, right, I would wake up every morning and pinch myself, thinking, how is this possible that I make a living for one simple reason, that car dealers throughout the country cannot schedule an oil change appointment? Right? This is the only reason for my existence. Right. I don't use better parts. I don't use better technicians. I don't have a better location, right? The only thing I do is just I let you come in without calling me. Yeah. This is my secret sauce. I can't even trademark it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So it really does come down. It really comes down to process, people, process, and product.
Exactly. So I bought a car, right, from a friend of mine who was a car dealer. And at one time I called him because I was due for an oil change. And I said, can I come in? He says, no, we're really busy today. Yeah. So I said, don't worry about it. I went to Jiffy Lube. I don't know anybody at Jiffy Lube. I don't have friends at Jiffy Lube.
That's why you're totally right. I mean, it's funny too, because you see people that purchase all the warranty, bumper to bumper, they get all the coverage and all these things, and they're still going to these quick service places to get it done because they don't want to go through the hassle of, oh, well, we got to drop off your vehicle, then we got to drive you to where you want to go. And then why can't I just sit in my car for the next 10 minutes with your complimentary water or coffee and an iPad?
Right.
Because that's what they're doing at Jiffy Lube for the $47 oil change.
Right. So I think that's the real problem. Once Carvana, so right now Carvana is slowly chipping away at used car revenue, right? So let's talk about new car revenue, right? You can't make money selling new cars, right? We've proved it. There's no money in it. We're losing money on each car sale. So we have to rely on used car sales, parts, and service. So Carvana and CarMax and now Vroom are slowly chipping away at used car revenue. At the same time, they're chipping away at your service and parts revenue because you get to recondition less cars.
Right.
You get to sell less cars because this is a zero-sum game, right? The Carvana customer, if it wasn't for Carvana, had to be a dealer's customer.
Right.
So you get less service, you get less reconditioning, you get less sales. So at some point, this house of cards will have to collapse, especially if Carvana enters into fixed stops and starts taking away your 45% profit margin on parts, your 75% profit margin on labor.
So if just winding this down, because I mean, you and I could talk about this all day. And in fact, we do talk about this all day, just not in podcast format. But
right.
What if you were to urge those listening to take action on a specific thing right now? What do you want them to be focused on? What do you want them to be paying attention to?
You have to be honest with yourself. And the only way to do it is to mystery shop your business. And believe me, I'm not selling you mystery shopping. I'm not in that business. But if you are a dealer principal, you have to be able to mystery shop everybody in your store, right? So if you call to schedule an appointment for service and they say, no problem, we'll see you in 3 weeks, you failed.
Right.
Right. Or if you pull up into the service drive and you say that you're here for an oil change and the service advisor says, okay, and there's no walk around, there's no attempt to upsell, and you just get a one-line item repair order, you failed.
Right.
And then you don't get a phone call from the advisor to upsell you anything because your technician never did the multi-point vehicle inspection.
Right.
You failed. If you call your sales department and say, how much is this Jeep Grand Cherokee? And they say, well, Michael, you have to come in. We give better prices in the showroom. You failed, right?
Right.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
But most people do not want to face reality because this is a hard pill to swallow as an owner. When you call your parts, sales, and service, and you hear this, what do you do? How do you go on? Do you go crazy and fire everybody? What do you do? So that's why I think a lot of them choose not to do it at all.
Yeah. And this feeds into the larger narrative of why people matter and why culture matters. And why this is where those pie in the sky topics become very tangible. The reason culture matters is because then your people have a place that they actually want to come and contribute to. And when you have people that are showing up to contribute, there's greater buy-in. And when you have to face the facts that your process needs a tweak, they are going to be willing to make those tweaks because they're bought in, versus kind of this perpetuating issue that we have right now, which is like, I show up because it's a job and whatever. I don't really care what happens, even though I do care in the back of my mind about losing my job, but that seems too far away for us right now. And so whatever. So, paying attention to these things now, I am with you. I feel I get a little bit of anxiety because I see the opening and I see the opportunity that dealers can be taking. And the time is now. The time isn't to just try and pretend you're another Carvana. It's to look at, like you said, look in the mirror and be like, hey, here's what we're going to work on right now to get us one step closer. and for the listener to identify whatever that is in the context of their business, it needs to start happening now.
Exactly. You have to be able to embrace change. Don't be afraid of it, right? We can, and I'll give you this. This is a perfect example. So I think everybody knows Brian Benstock from Paragon Honda. And I saw him present on pickup and delivery that he does for his service customers. So his service department is open 24/7.
Right.
He makes no secret of it. He tells everybody how he does it. He tells how it works. He even showed his financial statements in full disclosure and said, I double the dollars per repair order on pickup and delivery compared to a waiter.
Right.
So you would think that every dealership, at least around him in New York City area, would say, oh, wow, we should do this. How come we're not doing it? So as a New York City resident, I'm telling you, not a single car dealer, except for Brian Benstock, offers home pickup and delivery for the service department. No matter how many times he talked about it, no matter how many times he showed his financials, right? This is not a secret. Not one dealership does this.
Talk about owning 10 million people in the 5 boroughs.
Right. So in his presentation, he even shows a heat map of how his business was growing, right? Because when he first started, there was a couple of pickups here and there. And now he covers Queens, Long Island, Manhattan, New Jersey. If you are his neighbor and he is on the car road, why wouldn't you do the same? He already proved the concept.
That's it.
But they will find any excuse. We can't find the people, or this is only something that Brian Benstock can do. This is the same excuses they give for Carvana, So all you got to do is embrace the change. Don't fight it.
Yeah. Evolve, adapt. Be
okay. Right, that's it.
When you adapt, it means you're not just adapting for the sake of it. It's because that's where your customers are headed.
Right.
Be the Beatles. Change your style with with your audience. Go with your audience.
And you see, this is not like we're trying to cure cancer. We don't need to go to medical school and get a PhD. This is common sense.
Sure.
If I'm busy working and a local dealer offers pickup and delivery and they say, hey, Max, we're going to fix your car overnight and bring it back to you in the morning so you can go back to work. You took away every single objection. I don't need Jiffy Lube anymore.